The trail of the 3rd Army and the 19th Tactical Air Command of the 8th Air Force is marked by more than 40,000 white crosses, 40,000 dead Americans.
We were young and soldiers called to dedicate our lives in the name of God and country. Do what's just, boys. Go do what's right. A hot band of brothers waiting on our chance to add one more page unto the victory dance. Here am I, Lord, send me, send me. Victory lies in the spirit of the lives of the men who died for me.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
This is Michael Broderick, Marine Corps veteran, actor, and Gallant Few board member. You are listening to the New American Veteran. Now here's Carl Monger.
This is Carl, your host and the Executive Director of Gallant Few. In a moment, you're going to hear my interview with Michael Malcom. Michael is an Army veteran who is developing an opportunity that will help other veterans establish an income and work on their professional opportunities. It fits within one of the 5 points of the Gallant Few STAR, and STAR stands for self-training and responsibility. Could almost be STAR A, because we break responsibility into 2 words, and we believe that every one of us has the ability to choose our response to any situation that we find ourselves in, whether it's to take another drink, whether it's to flip somebody off on the highway, or whether it's to respond to someone with love. How do you learn to do that? It's a hard thing to do. And that's part of Gallant Few's functional emotional fitness, which is one of the 5 points of the STAR. You hear a lot of talk about emotional wellness. We don't like the term wellness. Wellness, to me especially, is a wishy-washy term. We're not going to have somebody lay on a couch, listen to all your problems, and then go prescribe some medication to help you go to sleep. That's not what we believe is the right approach to emotional wellness. So we changed that a little bit. We call it emotional fitness, because if it's a level of fitness, then you can measure it. And if you can measure it, you can put things in place to improve it. Functional means it's something that you can use every day in your life. Functional emotional fitness is based on the Burris Functional Emotional Fitness, formerly Emotional Wellness Program. He changed that after I got a hold of him. But it's a coaching technique that we use that is absolutely free for veterans, that is life-changing. It allows you to take control of achieving your own objectives instead of just hoping that you get there someday. The other 4 points of the STAR, the next one is functional professional fitness. The interview with Michael Malcom today fits within that category because it's about career, it's about income. Functional professional fitness also includes a professional network, not only your job, but also your education and your money management. Are you budgeting? Are you saving? Are you investing for your own financial future? The last 3, functional social fitness, functional physical fitness, and functional spiritual fitness. And I'll go into more detail about those in the future. You can learn more details about those right now, though, if you go to Amazon.com and pick up a copy of Common Sense Transition, which is a book that I published the end of last year. It's available on Kindle. It's also available in hardback and softback. If you go to Amazon.com, search Common Sense Transition, you'll find it. All proceeds from this book go to benefit Gallant Few. Thank you for your support. And now on to the interview. Hey, welcome to Gallant Few's The New American Veteran. This is your host, Carl Monger, and it is my pleasure today to welcome 173rd Airborne Brigade veteran Michael Malcom. Michael served with the 173rd Airborne Brigade Combat Team, OEF 10. He's been, I think he did about 10 years active duty. He'll tell us about that here in just a moment. He is a single parent, which I believe is the reason he decided to leave the military. And he is involved in something now that he believes can bring a lot of value to veterans. So it's intriguing. I want to hear what he has to say and share that message. So, Michael, welcome to the New American Veteran.
Oh, thank you very much, Carl Monger. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, it is my pleasure. So, before we launch into talking about your business, just give the audience a little background on your military side, if you would. And how did you get to a point where you do what you do? Because what Gallant Few and the New American Veteran is all about is transition. Everybody that's in the military today, whether they like to admit it or not, is going to transition at some point to being a civilian. And some people do it a lot better than others. And we're always looking for ways to help them have a better transition. So tell us about yours.
Sure. So, as Mr. Monger mentioned, I was with the 173rd. I wanted to originally do 20 years in the Army. That was my plan. I wanted to get my retirement pension and just go the distance. What ended up happening is about 8 years into my Army career, I became a single parent. And that was hard enough as it is. And I had to make the hard, reluctant decision to get out of the service at the end of my contract just because I didn't want to be away from my kid and on another deployment. So I made the decision to get out right at 10 years. And so I had 2 years left on my contract. So I had 24 months to figure out what it is that I wanted to do with my life. And I honestly didn't want to just get out and get some boring job that I had no passion for simply to pay child support and bills. I thought to myself, I put my heart and soul into the service, and I need to find something I could put my heart and soul into after that. So I got really deep into personal development. And to this day, my favorite concept in personal development is a concept called match and model. And match and model just means that if you want someone's lifestyle or their results or their success, just do what they do and you'll get what they've got. So I ended up interviewing people who had the lifestyle that I wanted. And by that, I mean people who were passionate about what they did in the civilian sector, but they were making maybe a little bit more money than I was making as a staff sergeant with dependents, and people who just overall had the fulfillment with what they were doing. So, bringing this to a close, if you will, I interviewed the man who is the number one hard money lender here in San Antonio, Texas. His name is Raymond Braun, and he's on my Facebook friends list. And I interviewed him, and I just asked him, sir, how do I get what you've got? Meaning, how can I be like you when I grow up? And, at the time I was 30, I'm 35 now. And he just told me, well, it's going to be hard, but if you want to match and model me, if you really stick with it, I can help you design your life. And so he taught me everything that I now know about business and being self-employed, entrepreneurship. And so I was working with Raymond for 24 months. And by the time my contract was over and I ETS'd, my residual income alone hit a point where it was not only higher than my living expenses, but it was higher than what I was making as a staff sergeant with dependents, which freed me up to get out of the service and not have to join the workforce. I could just stay self-employed and work with Raymond essentially. So
So you started this
high
when
level.
you were still on active duty and you were able to build the income so that as you transitioned, you were already doing what you were going to do.
Yes, sir. So basically, with the exception of PT, of course, I was doing the Army from 9 to 5. I was building my business infrastructure from 5 to 9. And then basically every hour my eyes were open on the weekends. And that was hard. It wasn't easy. It was very uncomfortable, but it was worth everything I had to go through to get it done.
Well, nice. Congratulations on that. That's something that I think a lot of people would find very interesting. So tell me what you do.
Sure. So I am a professional tourist by trade, and that means that I travel the world. So if anyone wants to look me up on Facebook, I have a public profile and you can see all my pictures and videos.
Okay, so you have a public profile.
Yes, sir. So anyone could look me up. You don't even have to friend me if you don't want to. You could just look through all my pictures and you could message me. But yeah, so my title on paper is professional tourist. So on my profile, you can see all the pictures and video footage of everywhere that I've been. Now, on a more specific kind of nuts and bolts version of what goes into that, one of the things that my partner Raymond and I are working on is we're building a dining, entertainment, and spa ecosystem here in San Antonio. And basically, what that means is we're trying to copy the same business model that Uber and Airbnb did, at least in the beginning. We all know Uber, largest transportation company. They don't own any vehicles, the drivers do. Airbnb, largest I guess you could say the largest private residence company in the world, and they don't own any private residences. We're borrowing that same platform model, but we're applying it to things like dining and entertainment and spa. And we're incorporating that into the travel and tourism space.
So tell me how did you go about building your income? What, if you can tell a little bit of the process of how you get from A to B, so you start having an income that's livable while you're touring.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. So first of all, obviously travel is a commissionable good. So anyone who uses any of my partner suppliers, vendors, excursion outfitters, etc., because we're using that Uber or Airbnb model where I don't own any of these vendors or any of these suppliers, but I have the best connection model, I am able to drive volume toward these vendors and so forth. Because my partner and I can do that better than anyone else can, they give us a commission off of all that volume. And another thing is obviously self-employed. So I collect a 1099 out of a W-2. So anything that I do spend out of pocket, if it's travel or business related, I get rid off. So what we're doing is we're borrowing that same platform-based model that Uber and Airbnb use, that they don't own anything that they touch, but they act as the best connectors between the service providers and the end user. And it's a win-win-win situation. So in our case, anyone who wants to make use of our service, whether it's travel and tourism or even just going to our partner restaurants, for instance, that person or that user is happy because we offer them the highest unduplicated value and experience. The restaurant or the service provider is happy because we're driving in more volume than they're capable of getting through any other source. And since we connect those two together, we get a little commission off the top. And what I was mentioning.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, what I was mentioning, I think I mentioned taxes, and I might have come in broken up. So I collect a 1099, but I am not a tax specialist. I hire someone else to do that. So anyone who wants tax advice, my disclaimer is to get with your tax specialist or CPA, and they could give you the details of a 1099.
You know what you described, I know folks that, let me change the priority on this here real quick. There we go. I know folks that represent certain products, like they're very popular, whether it's YouTube or on Facebook or Instagram. And if they wear an Osprey pack, for instance, in their ads, then Osprey's going to kick them a little bit of money or maybe give them some free packs. And this sounds almost a little bit like that. Is that accurate to say, or?
Oh, sure. Since I want to say about 2006, that's when the platform model really started. And by platform, I mean Uber, Airbnb, another great example. We all know Facebook, and between Alibaba and Amazon, those two rivals, they're using that process where they don't own anything that they touch, their product, service, or offering. They don't have that, but they're the best connectors. So yes, anytime a vendor or a company that's offering a product, for example, whoever is giving them the most volume and driving in the most customers or users, for instance, that entity that's doing that is going to give them a commission. So it's very much pay by performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned restaurants. Do you have any examples? Can you talk about how that program works?
Yes, absolutely. So here in San Antonio, we have 40 such restaurants. The two that really spearhead this movement, because everything we're doing, it's still very much in beta mode. So we're hoping to go completely live to the public probably in about 6 months, if not the end of the year at the latest. But the two restaurants that I'm most involved with, and the owners, I knew them before any of this started, is a restaurant called El Chaparral here in San Antonio. It's privately owned, family held, and there are two locations. Another one is very popular here in town called Las Palapas, and the one of the owners of two locations, for anyone who knows this city on Blanco and Churchill, if anyone knows the area, my friend and business partner owns that location as well as another one that just opened up. So here's an example of what that would look like. If someone is using my service or offering, they could go to Las Palapas, or if they want, maybe a slightly different value, but still Mexican food, they go to El Chaparral. They'll be financially rewarded and incentivized to do so rather than go to a rival restaurant. And here's how. Within our ecosystem, we have our own dollar for dollar currency, which can be used toward other things. So, for instance, if I wanted to go on my bucket list trip, say my bucket list trip is I want to go down to Cancun and go to an all inclusive. If I'm a user and I'm eating at El Chaparral or Las Palapas, a portion of my bill earns me that dollar for dollar currency, which I could use to lower the cost of my travel, or I could apply it toward an excursion, and I could apply it toward lowering the cost of whatever merchandise. We even do partnerships with wine companies. So essentially, the user, and I'll tie it all up like this: a user of our service, they could look at the app on their phone and they could see, I want Mexican food. Okay. I can go to El Chaparral or Las Palapas, and a portion of my bill earns me this dollar for dollar currency. Or I could go to their rivals, some other Mexican restaurant, and I get nothing except for the receipt at the end. So it's pretty much a no brainer that they're going to go where they get rewarded. So sorry if that
So
was a
how
winded
does
example.
so how does the process work when you said if they're part of the network, and I understand this is in beta, you're still haven't rolled it all the way out yet, but if I wanted to get involved in this, what's the steps? How do you go through the process? Is there a cost involved to join or to be a part of it?
That's a really good question. And so, in terms of cost, it's yes and no, and I'll explain why yes and why no. So, our app is the central hub, and I keep using the word ecosystem. That's equivalent to, if anyone is an Apple user who's viewing this, our central hub, our app, is the equivalent to Apple's iTunes. Like iTunes ties everything together, our app ties everything we do together, the restaurants and suppliers and vendors and so forth. So the app itself is in beta mode. If someone wanted to download it, it's not finalized yet. To include the name isn't finalized. So you'd have to get with me offline directly and I could guide you through that. But basically, if someone is an app user, they can do that for free. It's a concept that's in vogue right now called freemium. And if they want to earn more dollar for dollar currency faster, or they want to burn more points and apply it toward more things, whether it's travel or merchandise or wine, they could do that. If they wanted to upgrade, which they never have to, but they could if they want to, and we'll give them more value and more savings than what it costs for them to upgrade. Now, a good example, I know this is all kind of business jargon, but a great example is if you think of Amazon, you never ever have to become an Amazon Prime user. You could just use Amazon for free. That's what they call freemium in the tech world today. But if you look at the numbers, the Amazon Prime paying members now outnumber the freemium Amazon users. So we're borrowing that model. It's called compelling upgrade path, if you want more business jargon. I'm sorry, did I answer your question completely, Mr.
Yeah,
Monger?
yeah, I think so. I understand how that how that fits together and the difference between if you subscribe to the paid service, then you get rewards faster. It's kind of like I'm a Amazon Prime user, so I don't pay shipping on virtually everything that I buy, which more than offsets the $99 a year, whatever the cost is to be an Amazon Prime member. So yeah, sure, I got that. I got that part. How does somebody though, like you said, this is a path to income. How is this a path to income for somebody? How does this become a business opportunity for them?
Sure. Well, right now, being that everything's in beta mode, not everything works. Okay. So I myself am doing multiple things. I'm paying people for leads, for instance. In this day and age, contacts are currency. So if someone who's watching this, if they get in touch with me and say something like, hey, I know a man who owns a restaurant, or hey, I know a woman who runs her own nail salon, or I know someone who give Segway tours in their downtown city. I'd love to get in touch with those people. And if those leads wind up bearing fruit, so to speak, I'd be happy to give someone a commission for that. And that's an agreed upon commission that, whoever wants to do this with me, they tell me how much money would be worth their while and we'll go get it done. So I try to be generous like that. Now, another way is if someone wants to actually get and help me test out the beta version of the app, meaning they want to download the app. It's not perfect, but if they want to start using it throughout our unique ecosystem, being that it doesn't always work, that's the kind of feedback that is absolutely critical. So if someone is using the app and they said, hey, Mike, it didn't work at this restaurant, or I had to try it, I had to scan the QR code like 3 times before it finally worked, or at this place, they had no idea what I was talking about and I couldn't use it at all. Those are examples that are priceless to me and to my partners. So those are several ways that someone could get involved if they want to earn a stream of income.
You had asked me to have another website ready to show. Talk to me about what the Thirst program is.
Sure. So Thirst, that is one of our main partners right now, and that's Thirst. That's T. Oh, you brought it up. Okay. Yeah. So Thirst minus the letter I. So Thirst is the leading innovator and our service provider in this ecosystem model. Now they're basically spearheading our idea of, like I said earlier, the highest unduplicated value experience. So, for instance, if one came to San Antonio and they went to El Chaparral, we don't want them to just stand in line like everyone else. Even for instance, if someone wants the VIP experience, they can use our platform, which is structured around the Thirst model, the Thirst service provider, and they could bypass everyone else who's standing in line without having to put in reservations first. They could get things like 20% off of their meal. They could get things like, well, for instance, if any of our providers offer any kind of valet, they could get that valet service. They could get, say, if someone private party and they want to go to one of our restaurants, they could actually get that VIP party or that party room locked off for them as priority. And another thing that's really popular at El Chaparral, we have our own sub menu just for our members, or rather just for our app users. So if user, you can't get that value, you can't get those menu items.
Trying to get you back up on the screen here, but I'm showing you're blank. So there we go. I think I got you back. Okay. Yeah. Nice. So if somebody wants to get involved in this, what's the best way? How do they get connected to you? What should they do?
Well, honestly, by all means, connect with me on Facebook. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, so I'll just ask you, Mr. Monger, if someone wants to call me directly on my mobile, you could have my number. Again, I don't want to just throw it out there. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that here, but the best thing is just contact me directly.
It's okay with me if you want to publish your phone number here. That's fine with me. It's up to you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's area code 510-205-9666. 9510, and that is that is a Northern California area code because that's where I'm from, but I do reside here in San Antonio on Central Time.
All right. And a message through your Facebook page or calling you is probably best way to do it?
Oh, yeah. That's it. Yeah, you could call me anytime, day or night. This is my life's work, so I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning or something. Get in touch with me, and I'll try to help you out the best that I can.
So, advice that you have for somebody who is just starting their transition out of the military, you got maybe 2 or 3 things that you'd pass along to them?
Sure, absolutely. So the first thing is, like I mentioned earlier, match and model. And that's what I did, just match and model. So reiterating what that means is essentially, if I want what you've got, I'll listen to you. If you want what I got, you listen to me. You come copy me. So look for people who have the lifestyle and the results that you want. Try to connect with them. My mentor taught me to pay it forward. So even if I don't have the exact results that you want, I'm willing to pay it forward. So get in touch with me. Maybe someone in my contacts could be a good referral for you. Okay. So match and model is important. Another thing that's really important that my mentor taught me is in this day and age, your net worth is equal to your net work. Okay. So a really good example is the infantry didn't exactly teach me people skills, okay? And that's totally fine. But if anyone is wanting to learn how to network, that is absolutely critical. I'm living proof that it works. I was always a wallflower, but when I realized in this day and age, it's not totally about what you know, it's more about who you know. You always want to get an in with somebody because that'll give you that leg up to, for instance, if you just want to get a job, if you know someone who is one of the higher ups, that's a lot easier than just kind of walking in cold or making a cold call. So that's number 2 is your net worth is equal to your network. And then finally, I would just say that, this is just a book I highly recommend. If anyone wants to get into business, there's no magic book, okay? But if you're going to read something and take it seriously, my mentor taught me just read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And if you read that 10 times, you will never have money problems again and your momentum will start building. I listened to him. I'm only on time number 6 of reading that book and things are going great. So I got 4 more times to read it to go. So those are the 3 things, reiterating: match and model, your net worth is equal to your net work, read Think and Grow Rich 10 times.
Nice. One more question I'll throw out at you. In all the travels that you've done, what's your favorite place you've been?
That's a really good question, and my auto response is the next place that I'm going. And I know that sounds a little canned, but I've made a decision that over a 7-year period, I want to see all the 7 wonders of the world. So thus far, I've knocked out 3: the Mayan ruins in Chichen Itza, the Great Wall of China, and this last trip, which you could see as my profile picture, is Machu Picchu in Peru. So it's always the next place, the last place, which basically means Machu Picchu has been the most impactful so far.
So where are you going next?
It's a toss-up. I really want to go to the Maldives before they disappear. Now I know those technically that's not part of the world wonders. I consider it a world wonder just because one day they're going to be gone. So I'd rather go there sooner rather than later. But if I really stick to my plan, it's either that or going to Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, Africa.
Nice. Well, Michael, I appreciate you being on the New American Veteran. I hope you get some folks that reach out to you to learn more. Do you write any blog posts or do you have anything that goes out routinely?
It's just on Facebook. So everything that I do on social media is on Facebook, and it's the same thing on Instagram, Michael G. Malcom. But yeah, Facebook is so popular, that's my central post. So you see all my pictures and videos and stuff. So it's pretty basic.
All right. Hey, very good. Like I said, I appreciate you appearing on the show today. I don't like to tell veterans thank you for your service because when people say it to me, I feel a little awkward, but I do like to say thank you for my freedom, because you did a combat deployment, you served the country, and you helped guarantee my freedom and that of my family and friends. So for that, you have my thanks. And
Thank you very.
well, I would like to invite you to come back on maybe 3-6 months from now. Let's talk about how things are going, how the app is going, and how your growth has gone. And you can let me know if anybody is connected with you as a result of this.
Yes, I would like that. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I was going to say thank you right back to you, sir. I appreciate your compliment, and I'm sending it right back to you in the spirit in which it was given. And thank you for having me on the show.
Michael, I appreciate that. You take care. Thank you.
Thanks. Same to you, sir. Bye.
That beautiful rendition of Taps is a public domain recording created and recorded by an employee of the United States government. It is open source and not under copyright protection. Kenny Thomas' song Send Me is used by permission of Kenny Thomas. Isaiah 6:8 was read by Tim Abel. Thank you, Michael Broderick, for the introduction. All work is original or used by permission. This has been a production of Gallant Fuse, the New American Veteran, a member of the Heroes Media Group. All rights reserved.